Meet Michael and Kristy. These two Domino's pizza employees don't exactly look like villains, but they were. I'm sure in their own heads they believe they were just a couple of goofs playing harmless pranks. But what is a prank really? Well, if I had to come up with a benchmark for a good prank, I would say that by the end of the hijinks, all parties involved, including the intended targets of the trickery, should be laughing. In Michael and Kristy's case, no one was laughing. Not the company whose reputation they destroyed, not the millions of innocent people who were terrified of becoming violently ill. In fact, by the end of this sickening saga, not even Michael and Kristy would be laughing, thanks to a group of very smart internet sleuths who finally tracked them down and brought an end to their despicable crimes. It all started innocently enough with a video they titled Customer Change.
Michael needs the keys so he can check out a customer.
Kristy spent the short 56-second film bugging Michael about how long it was taking him to get some change for a customer waiting at the drive-thru window.
25 seconds in, and still the customer does not have his change. 35 seconds in, and the customer still doesn't have his change. Finally, after 45 seconds, he makes it back.
Thank you.
And have a nice day.
Yeah, have a good one.
It seems quite harmless, right?
I mean, yeah. I wouldn't nominate them for Employees of the Month or nothing, but...
Wrong! What follows is a series of videos that take deliberate food safety violations to unprecedented levels, each one worse than the last. The next video begins with Michael showing off a banana pepper that he has stuck up his nose.
Here we go. Michael has a banana pepper up his nose.
Hilarious.
They laugh, he pulls it out and throws it in the trash, and without washing his hands, wraps some sandwiches.
Okay, yeah, it's gross and not nearly as funny as they think it is, but how does this warrant you sitting me down for a whole presentation about, and I quote, food-based terrorism?
Well, Grill, the true depravity hasn't even begun. In the next video of our goofy goopers, Michael takes a piece of cheese, sticks it up his nose, and then casually throws it on a sandwich.
And on the sandwich it goes.
Booger included.
Bro, what the hell? What's with this guy's thing for shoving food up his nose?
That's a mystery in itself, Grill, but the more concerning, unanswerable mystery is what poor, unsuspecting customer ended up being the unfortunate soul to eat the fromage de schnoz sandwich. What we do know is that Michael and Kristy didn't just lack remorse, they seemed downright proud of what they were doing. And I'm sorry to say, but they were only just getting started. For anyone seeing these videos on YouTube, it was beyond shocking. To make matters worse, aside from their appearance and first names, nobody knew who these workers were or which Domino's they worked at. Think about it. Every time you order your food, you're placing a huge amount of trust in the people preparing it. Most of us don't sit in restaurants worrying about whether our meal has been tampered with. We assume, perhaps naively, that the people in the kitchen are following proper hygiene standards and have the human decency to not want to make innocent people sick. And Michael and Kristy continue to take that trust and stomp all over it with a gleeful lack of conscience. Like in the next video, when Michael decided to treat the sandwiches to his own, personal seasoning.
What, like paprika or something? Oh, no. Oh.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Michael deliberately sneezes directly onto the cheese bread, which, as they themselves admit, is
To be served to some unlucky customer that's in need of some snot. Yes, I said snot.
And this wasn't just an ordinary sneeze. This was a full frontal assault on the sandwiches themselves. And just in case there was even the smallest doubt regarding the maliciousness of his intentions.
Yeah, as if. You saw that sneeze. He was practically charging up his shot.
He then plunges his finger into the food, presumably to bury a booger deeper into the melted cheese.
Oh, come on. You kidding me? This is insane.
Not only that, but it's dangerous. This can introduce a host of potential pathogens, including the flu virus, streptococcus bacteria, and even staphylococcus aureus, which can cause food poisoning. These germs can lead to severe illnesses, particularly for people with weakened immune systems, young children, or the elderly. Naturally, people who had the misfortune of stumbling upon these videos were horrified, grossed out, and ultimately furious. Questions flooded in. Who are these people? How could they do this? But as the internet tried to get to the bottom of it, let's just say, so did Michael and Kristy.
What? What does that mean?
In the absolute worst of the 5 videos, Michael is seen unbuckling his pants while Kristy is laughing.
Hey, bro, what's happening here?
He then takes a sponge, wipes between his cheeks, then uses that sponge to clean a tray.
Oh, God! bro, I can't believe I have to say this, but you mind warning me the next time you're about to show a man's full-on ass in your presentation?
Noted. While this is the shortest video, it is also the most gut-churning. To think that a customer may have eaten a pizza made with that tray.
Oh, I'm gonna be sick.
You're right, it can make you sick. Food contamination of this caliber isn't just gross, it can be fatal. Your body, and especially the gastrointestinal system, is teeming with bacteria. Most of it is harmless and even beneficial when it stays within its designated areas. But introducing that bacteria to food can be catastrophic. Fecal bacteria such as E. coli and Salmonella can wreak havoc on the human body if ingested, like microbial invaders, poisoning and tearing apart your insides. They unleash a symphony of agony, from severe stomach cramps and diarrhea to life-threatening complications like kidney failure. In fact, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, foodborne illnesses caused by contaminated food sabotage the inner machinations of millions of people each year, leading to thousands of hospitalizations and even deaths. Like the E. coli outbreak just this past year in 2024, when McDonald's Quarter Pounder burgers made many people sick across several states, and unfortunately, one of the illnesses was fatal. One night in late September of 2024, J.C. Smith and his wife Doris, an elderly couple from Grand Junction, Colorado, headed out for a meal. Nothing fancy, just their usual. They had been married for 70 years, and this was their little tradition. Dinner at McDonald's, same order every time, a Quarter Pounder. But this time, within days of their meal at McDonald's, JC ended up in the hospital, weak and dehydrated from a case of food poisoning. He pulled through though, and 4 days later, doctors sent him home. At the time, no one told him to avoid any particular place, so a little while later, JC and Doris went back to McDonald's for another Quarter Pounder.
Oh no.
This time, it hit harder. The dizziness, the pain, so much worse than before. And now, doctors confirmed what they suspected. This wasn't just food poisoning. It was E. coli 0157H7, the kind that puts people in hospitals and, in some cases, doesn't let them walk out. JC was one of those cases, and sadly, he died on October 20th.
That's horrible. But wait, didn't Doris have a Quarter Pounder as well?
Yes, she had eaten the same meal both times, same McDonald's, same Quarter Pounder, and she was fine.
What? How then?
That's because Doris doesn't like onions. She picked them off and gave them to JC. After investigating the matter, the CDC determined it was their supply of onions, and in response, several fast food locations like Burger King, KFC, and Taco Bell pulled all their fresh onions from the menu. The onions for McDonald's came from Taylor Farms, a supplier from California, and they were contaminated with E. coli. Those onions sickened 90 people across 13 states, with Colorado hit the hardest, contributing to 26 of the cases. J.C. Smith was the only fatality. J.C. Smith's case is just one of many examples of why messing with food could be so dangerous. And it goes beyond the immediate physical effects. Knowing that someone tampered with your food in such a personal and disgusting way is psychologically disturbing to most people. It makes people question the very systems they rely on daily, the restaurants they frequent, the food safety protocols they trust, and the people behind the counter who are supposed to care about their well-being. And for the pranks committed by our disgusting duo who were experiencing an unexpected 15 minutes of infamy, nobody knew where they were located. So people couldn't be sure if it was at their Domino's pizza, or worse yet, if they had already unknowingly ingested any of Michael and Kristy's contaminated food. As these videos continued to grow in virality, so did public outrage. People demanded justice, and Domino's found themselves in quite the icky situation.
Okay, just look him up and get him fired.
Well, it was 2009, Grill. The internet wasn't quite the omnipresent, all-seeing entity it is today. Social media was still finding its footing, and viral videos were a very new concept.
Yeah. Okay, so it was a lot easier to get away with crap like this then, huh?
Easier, but not by much. After all, these videos did make quite the splash. The internet wasn't having any of it. Forums lit up with discussions, with people from all over the world voicing their disgust. The videos started popping up on other platforms, such as a site called goodasyou.org, where it was seen by site founder Jeremy Hooper. Jeremy immediately recognized its potential for damage, not just to Domino's, but to public trust and food safety. He decided to take things into his own hands. Jeremy emailed Tim McIntyre, Domino's Vice President of Communications, with a simple but urgent message. You need to see this. Within 30 minutes of that email landing in McIntyre's inbox, Domino's internal social marketing team was scrambling to address the situation. Their first priority, get the videos taken down from YouTube faster than you can say, extra cheese, hold the sneeze. But removing a viral video wasn't straightforward. Back in the day, YouTube required permission from the original uploader, and this delay only prolonged the public's exposure to the videos. In just 24 hours, the video's views jumped from 20,000 to 760,000, crossing 1 million in the next day. What started as an online blip became a major crisis. Major media outlets ran the story, turning it into a public spectacle. Domino's was under fire, facing intense scrutiny from every direction. Arrest warrants for both employees were issued immediately. It's a textbook example of how fragile consumer trust can be. Viral scandals like this don't just damage reputations, they often destroy them. Like in 2013, when a young man became infamous for licking a tall stack of taco shells at Taco Bell and had a coworker take a photo. Or also in 2013, when a photo of a young Wendy's employee eating a Frosty directly from the machine went viral. And yet again in 2013, 2 separate Subway's employees posted very inappropriate photos. One, the employee had placed his male reproductive body part on a foot-long bun. The other was a photo of a bottle with frozen liquid with the caption, "Today at work, I froze my pee."
What the hell is wrong with 2013 people?
Not sure, but despite the fact that every single time without fail these employees got fired almost immediately, it did nothing to stop people from continuing to pull these types of stunts for attention. In 2015, a young woman at Checkers was filmed rubbing a hamburger bun on the grimy floor before placing it on the sandwich prep line, all while her co-workers laughed. And in 2017, a woman found herself going viral from a photo of her while wearing her KFC uniform, licking a mountain of mashed potatoes. And yet again in 2017, a Taco Bell employee posted a photo of himself urinating on Nachos Bel Grande. Unfortunately for him, this garnered some attention from the hacker group Anonymous, who released information about the man to help identify him.
Now that's internet karma.
While I don't condone releasing people's personal information to the public, no matter what they did, at least in the end of all these cases, the employees were discovered and no longer worked there.
You're fired.
Unfortunately, back in 2009, when Daniel and Kristy pulled their stunts, corporations weren't as prepared to deal with this sort of thing. And so, it was up to amateur internet detectives to track them down, using good old-fashioned geolocation.
What, like satellite stuff?
Not in this case, but you're right that one form of geolocating uses satellite GPS data from a video or photo to determine where it was taken, like in the Burger King foot lettuce case that we covered in a video years ago. Back in 2012, an anonymous user posted a photo on 4chan. This is the lettuce you eat at Burger King. The image? A pair of shoes belonging to some genius standing on 2 containers of lettuce at a Burger King. Now, I'm sure when the culprit posted the photo, they thought they were pretty safe. 4chan is anonymous by default, and there was no face or any kind of clues in the background. But that's where the internet's favorite geolocation tool comes in, EXIF data. See, when you take a photo, your device usually embeds extra details into the file, things like the camera model, time, and GPS coordinates. Within minutes, 4chan users extracted the location data from the photo and pinpointed exactly which Burger King it came from. But when you upload a photo or video to other social media platforms, it often removes the EXIF data for privacy reasons. So in the case with Michael and Kristy, because it was on YouTube, the internet sleuths wouldn't be able to find them using this form of geolocation. But the internet, undeterred, put on their detective hats and used another form of geolocation, sometimes referred to as geoguessing. There's even a game where players are dropped into a random Google Street View location and have to figure out where they are using only visual clues, things like road signs, landscapes, architecture, even power lines.
That GeoGuessr guy, Rainbolt? He's insane. He can figure out what country it is in like a fraction of a second.
A fraction of a second. That is nothing. Try a fraction of a microsecond.
You're a computer, shut up.
When Rainbolt plays a game like GeoGuessr, he can easily identify the country from a variety of clues, like telephone poles and their special markings, license plates, or even the soil with its distinct color and vegetation. But what if you need to find a more precise location than just a country? Well, for that, there's this guy on TikTok called Jose Monkey. People post videos of themselves in a random location and say, "Find me, Jose Monkey." Then he goes into a deep dive, finding clues in the videos to first identify the region and country. Then he'll look for specifics, like the shape of a road, a store sign, even looking in reflections of sunglasses to find as exact a location as possible. But a common technique for geolocators is to, in a sense, triangulate a person. They'll find 2 or more features in a video, like a distinct park across the street from, say, a Shell gas station, then go through a map service and look at all the Shell gas stations across the street from those types of parks and see what matches.
Boy, that sounds exhausting. Too bad they don't have a coffee machine with an overinflated ego to do it for them.
Well, that's why many of them will use special programming code to help them sort through all of this information. Then, a simple look on Google Street Maps is used to confirm they have the location, and bingo!
Okay, cool. Is that how they found a snot-loving duo?
It was, except they didn't even need any fancy code. 2 sharp-eyed readers of Consumerist, Amy Wilson and her boyfriend Jonathan Drake, noticed a detail in one of the clips that one might miss if you blinked. A Jack-in-the-Box sign visible through the drive-thru window. Seeing as these took place in a Domino's, they cross-referenced Google satellite images, looking for locations where a Domino's and a Jack-in-the-Box were close to each other. But it took a long time, and probably came out with multiple results. So they needed a way to pinpoint it more. Unfortunately, the shot of the drive-thru window was too overexposed to see any additional details. One might say they were gross, but no cigar. So the cyber sleuths needed another approach. As mentioned, there was no EXIF data, but Paris Miller, a computer consultant from Northern Kentucky, found a way to trace the YouTube uploader's internet connection to Conover, North Carolina. And lo and behold, there was a Domino's pizza in the town, near a Jack-in-the-Box. The smoking gun. They found it and sent the information to Tim McIntyre's Domino's VP of Communications. This is what McIntyre wrote in his response to Jonathan. Our chief of security has spoken to the franchise owner this morning, who was dumbfounded to say the least. He has told us that he will be terminating their employment today. The challenge that comes with the freedom of the internet is that any idiot with a camera and an internet link can do stuff like this and ruin the reputation of a brand that's nearly 50 years old, and the reputations of 125,000 hardworking men and women across the nation and in 60 countries around the world. Soon, McIntyre received an email from none other than Kristy herself, realizing the jig was up.
Oh, can I read it?
Sure, knock yourself out, bud.
I am sorry about all of this. It was all a prank, and me nor Michael expected to have this much attention from the videos that were uploaded. No food was ever sent out to any customer. We would never put something like that on YouTube if it were real. It was fake, and I wish that everyone knew that. Michael never would do that to any customer, ever. I am so sorry. You see, all the time of the pranks that people upload, the pranks need to seem real in order to get a laugh out of people, but this prank was very, very immature, and I am sorry for the embarrassment that I have caused your company. Yeah, right, it was fake.
Tim McIntyre would agree with you on it. He commented on her response saying, "At this point, we certainly are not taking her word that this was all fake, but we will be following up today with these people who are employed by an independent and innocent franchise owner." Domino's faced a massive challenge after those videos went viral. They were navigating the fine line between addressing the crisis head-on and trying not to put a spotlight on it. But 2 days after the videos went viral, Patrick Doyle, the president of Domino's USA, took an unusual step for corporate damage control. He addressed the controversy in a direct-to-camera video. Posted on YouTube and the company's website, the video featured Doyle speaking plainly to the audience, a stark contrast to the polished, PR-filtered statements usually issued in times of crisis. In the video, Doyle looked visibly concerned as he condemned the employee's actions as a YouTube hoax and reassured customers that Domino's was taking the situation seriously. He detailed the company's immediate response. The 2 employees were fired, felony warrants were issued for their arrest, and the store was temporarily shut down and sanitized. He also emphasized Domino's commitment to food safety, promising stricter hiring practices and more frequent audits to restore public trust. It wasn't clear at this point what exactly they would be charged with and what punishment they might face, but for now, this was a start. The decision to release a video rather than just a written statement was likely an attempt to make the apology feel more personal and ensure that the public knew that Domino's took this issue very seriously. The franchise owner of Michael and Kristy's Domino's faced a fallout so severe it was like trying to patch a sinking ship with duct tape. Even after the entire restaurant was meticulously sanitized under the close supervision of the NC Department of Health, the damage to its reputation was irreversible. Customers couldn't shake the imagery or the headlines. By September 2009, just a few months after the incident, the franchise location closed its doors for good.
Aw, that sucks. It closed down an entire store? And people lost their jobs. Did Domino's not end up getting YouTube to take the videos down?
After they hit over 2 million views, they were finally pulled only after Kristy, the original uploader, gave her consent. From then on, Domino's worked hard to scrub them from every corner of the internet, which is why most people today aren't aware of their full content.
But we just watched the videos.
Exactly. Finding these videos turned out to be a daunting task. I looked at several platforms, websites, forums to no avail. But then, my luck turned. It was quite the digital scavenger hunt, and it was all thanks to another YouTuber called Cyrozan. He released a video about this incident saying he had 2 of the 5 videos and asked the internet to help to find the rest. As they often do, the internet heeded the call. Less than a week later, a user named Colin jumped to Cyrozan's Discord server. As a systems programmer in Alaska, tracking internet troublemakers was part of his job. So he decided to use his Google Foo to find these videos. Since the traditional methods of finding videos wasn't cutting it, he drummed up some code to help him search. And he came across a presentation about the case, but no videos. It did, however, have a title and thumbnails that he could use to further his search. Finally, he decided to see if in some dark corners of YouTube, these videos could still be found lingering. So he used his fancy searching techniques, put in a search for the exact titles, and found someone who had filmed the videos with a webcam and re-uploaded them, in true 2009 fashion. While grateful, they were extremely low quality, and Cyrozan was hoping for something a bit better. Then came Lustinian, the unsung hero, who joined the chat. He went to the Internet Archive, where websites go on to live forever.
Man, you gotta be careful what you post on the internet.
Exactly. The problem is a lot of older videos were in Flash format, which is a program no longer in use. A Flash emulator named Ruffle is used with the Internet Archive, but it's a hit or miss if the videos work. Usually a miss from my experience, as was the case with these videos. With special internet powers of his own, Justinian used a download engine to download these files off of Internet Archive. Thanks to Cyrozan, Colin, and especially Justinian's efforts, the full series is now archived and available for anyone to watch. We'll put a link in the description to Cyrozan's videos if you're interested.
I don't know if I would say thanks, but that is pretty clever. Man, the internet really knows how to come together and get stuff done, huh? What ended up happening to Michael and Kristy? Get any time in the slammer?
Well, with warrants out for their arrest, the legal fallout was kind of inevitable. First up, Michael and Kristy faced felony charges for food contamination. They turned themselves in on April 15th and were held under a $7,500 bond each. The franchise owner had filed a criminal complaint against them, and prosecutors argued that the contaminated food might have been served, though both Michael and Kristy denied it.
Denied it? Didn't they admit to it in one of the videos?
They sure did.
Some unlucky customer that's in need of some snot.
Michael was the first to enter a plea on March 9, 2010. He didn't admit guilt, but acknowledged there was enough evidence to convict him. He was sentenced to 6 months in jail, 2 years of supervised probation, and a $1,000 court fee, and a strict order to stay away from Kristy and any Domino's restaurant. He expressed guilt, admitting the prank was immature and downright stupid, even if the food never left the store, according to him.
Even if that were true, what about butt sponge? I mean, just thinking about it.
Later in November 2010, Kristy struck a deal. During the trial, it was revealed that Kristy had a prior criminal record, including misdemeanors and theft charges. This certainly didn't help her case, and despite not being the primary perpetrator, she still faced severe consequences. She pled guilty in exchange for a reduced sentence, 45 days suspended, 18 months probation, 200 hours of community service, and over $1,000 in attorney fees. She also had to hand over the original videos to the authorities and was barred from working in any food-related job or speaking publicly about the case. It shows that people should think twice before pulling what seems like a harmless prank. They can hurt people, cause emotional distress, and, in this case, possibly kill someone. So, always remember, think before you prank. If you enjoyed this video, then consider hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel. It's the best thing you can do to help us keep making more of them. Like this one about how a man's get-rich-quick scheme turned his lungs into leather.